All right, so watch this. Let's move our heading down here. Will this work? I'm now referring to change heading before I've actually declared change heading. Make sure I've saved, refresh the button, or refresh the page, click the button, still works. Still works because of something called hoisting, which is not a term you'll actually find in the documentation prior to ES6, but it's a thing that's always been there. And basically the idea is declarations, like variable and function declarations, are effectively moved to the top of their containing function or their containing scope. So it is like I declared this thing up there. Not necessarily initialized, but declared. In the case of a function, though, it is as though you just made the whole thing right at the beginning of that function. So you can use it anywhere in the current scope, even if you don't define it until the bottom, which sometimes can be nice for the sake of code organization. If I had something like var I down here, but didn't assign it, and I said I equals 4 up here or something, and I accessed I down here, it would be the same I. It would basically be as though I had said var in front of there instead of not saying anything. So that's hoisting. What if I did it the other way? What if I said const change heading equals anonymous function? Use a function expression instead of a function declaration. Explode! That does not work. What if it were var? No error, but it doesn't work. So const behaves more the way that we kind of expect things to work, and you must declare it before you use it. Long term, this is the way we're generally going to do things, so I'll go ahead and get in the habit now. But keep in mind, two different ways of declaring functions, and they're not quite the same. There's a slight difference between the two. There's hoisting with function declarations. There's not with function expressions that are assigned to a variable like this. But they're very similar otherwise. So what do we do? Update the heading when the button is clicked. Oops, I didn't show you that yet. I did nothing. What? Nothing. You're no. What are you talking about? I didn't commit. Let's commit. All right. Let's run a git status here. All right, I've got one change to index.js. Before we can commit it, we need to add it. Those changes are not in our repository yet. We'll talk about what that means. So let's git add dot. That means all my changes should be staged. I want them in my commit. Then I say git commit -m. Then I write a commit message. Let's talk about what a good commit message is. For one thing, it's descriptive. Don't just say update or changes or something like that. That doesn't help me and it doesn't help you. Tomorrow you're not going to be able to look back at that commit and have any idea what the heck it did. So it's good to make nice, small, atomic commits that do one thing and describe what that thing is. And it's nice to have your commit messages all be in the same general format, to have parallel construction in them, that is. Write them all the same way. And a lot of companies, including GitHub themselves, now Microsoft, and Google, use a particular style that I like a lot, and it's what we use at Fretless too. And that is write it in the form of an imperative sentence, like a command. It should complete the sentence, this commit will. So I'll write update the heading when the button is clicked. I generally do use a capital letter, but I don't put a period at the end. But it should read like a complete sentence. And I say update instead of updated. That's just the kind of the standard that's developed. It is a convention as opposed to a rule. but most places of employment that have their stuff together are going to want you to be consistent somehow, and that's a very common way to do it. So that's what we're going to do in class. We're going to try to develop that habit. So update the heading when the button's clicked. It completes the sentence, this commit will. This commit will update the heading when the button is clicked. Now it's committed. I can say git push to actually sync it with GitHub. Yesterday we had to say git push -u origin master. But because of that -u, we never have to type origin master again. And now it's on GitHub. Questions?